So hey guys, welcome back to the lecture 3 of our Django series. In the previous video, we learned about the print statements, we learned about the values and data types, variables, etc. In today's video, we will be learning a little bit more about conditional statements that are if-else statements. And then we will be moving on further and we will be learning about loops. That what exactly is the loops, how can we perform loops, and what is the need to write loops in our project and basically in our code. So first thing comes is what is conditional statements. As I told you guys in the previous video that suppose by chance you have assigned a variable that is a and then there is another variable that is b. So if now after that we can put conditional statements here like equals to, not equals to, like see let me tell you, equals to stands for double equals, like that, okay, and there comes another value that is not equals to, right? So for writing not equals we have to write exclamation and equal. This means it's not equals to, right? Then similarly there comes greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, and so on. So for that, let's just do one thing. Firstly we'll write, we have already assigned the values here, right? Like you can see we have given a equals to 1 and b equals to 2. We have given it like that. Now let's do one thing, let's put conditional statements, that is if, like that we'll give some conditional statements to them. Okay, so what I have written here is if a is less than equals to b, then we have to print that the value of the given value is equal, or instead of equal I'll write greater than. The given values is greater than a, and if that is not greater than, or as I should say, they are less than. So this is for, this is for greater than equals to, like here you can clearly see that a equals to 1 and b equals to 5. That means definitely, yeah, a is less than b. Let's run it and we'll see what will be the output. It says the given values is greater than a. That is obviously the true. But by chance, what if I wrote not equals to? Then let's run the code. Then it says, yeah, the given values. For that, let's do one thing. We'll just do this. Then now we'll write here like if, okay, a is not equals to b, then we have to make a statement that is print a and b are not equal, right? You have to write it inside code so that it should understand that we are printing a string. One more thing, that if we didn't included this indentation that is here, then also it will throw an error. Like if you can see, it already is became red. Now if I will even try to run it, it says error, right? This line should have indentation. Expected an indented block after if statement. It says like that. So we have to give them some indentation, then only it will work just fine, right? So this is what our conditional statements is all about. Later on we will be working on that. Suppose I want that there are two conditions. Else, like suppose I printed, I'll take elif. Elif is the third statement. Elif, elif suppose a is greater than equals to b, then we have to print here that a is greater, a is greater than b. So this is our one of the conditional statements. Then we can put else. Suppose else it will be print a and b are not are equal. Okay. Now let's just do one thing. Let's test it. Right now you can see that they both are not equals. So in our case, both the conditions can be applied here. You can see. A and B are not equal. It clearly says because it is satisfying the first equation. Now, instead of keeping this, let's just do one thing. Let's keep it equal equal. And here we have given that A is greater than equals to B, which is not the case actually. So what it will print? It will print A and B are equal, which is the third and scenario. So this is how you can play with conditional statements. You can, if you want, you can create your own conditions by which and you can run it so that you will get a better understanding. Now, moving on further, let's go and let's learn about loops. So what is loops? So in Python, basically we focuses on two types of loops, that is while loop and for loop. Okay. So with the while loop, we can execute a set of statements as long as the condition is true. For example, like suppose, let me here first define like a variable I, and I equals to 1. I have said that I equals to 1, right? The initial value of I is 1. Now I'll apply a loop that while I is greater than 6. Will put here I print I plus 1. But I have written here, let's see, firstly I have I have defined a variable that is I, and the value of I is 1. Okay. Now I have declared a while loop that it defines that until I is less than 6, it should work. When I will be, let me put equals also. So when the I will be equal to or greater than 6, then the loop should be paused. Now let's just run it and see. It's going on. You can see that the loop will be going on forever. Yeah, it's keep on going. If I will even stop it, then also it will be going on forever. Right. So this is that why it happened. Let's just do one thing. Let's make a proper another example of loops that will better make you understand it. Right. For that, first let's just declare a variable that is I, and it equals to 1. Okay. Now inside this we'll add a while loop. Inside while I is greater than 6, till that time we have to just print I. Okay. And then we have to put increment I plus equals to 1. So what it will do, yeah, it will print, see, what will happen, firstly, it will check the condition that the value of I is 1, okay, and now we have to put a loop. So firstly, it will check that whether the value of I is less than 6, then it says, yeah, because in initial it will be 1. So yeah, it's less than 6, then it will print I, right? Then it will have an increment, then now the value of I is 2. Now again it will check that whether it's less than 6. Yeah, it is less than 6. Then again it will run. And it will go until the value will be less. See, right now the value will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when it became 5, it stopped. Because we have clearly said that until I is less than 6, till then that time only we have to run the loop. So this is what happened with the loop. Right? Now, let's just learn about the break statement. That what exactly is break statement. So with the help of break statement, we can stop the loop even if the condition is true. Like what? Let me show you. Firstly, we'll keep the same. Okay. Now after print I, if I equals to 2, then what we have to do here is we have to break. What we have did here is we have added a condition that if the value of I is equals to 2, that means if the value of I is 2, then we have to break it. Now, I want you guys to comment down below that what exactly will be the output of that. See, let me just run it and we'll show that the output of our whole loop is 2, 1 and 2. Why? Because, see, for the first time it ran, value was 1, it was less than 6, loop went. Because it was not satisfying this condition, right? Because the value of I was less than 2. Then what happened? It began and got an increment. Now the value of I is 2. it run the loop, it printed I, and what happened? Now it satisfied this condition and the loop break. Then from now the loop stopped working. So this is what a break statement is all about, right? So this for loop, we can execute a statement one or each items in a list and tuples, etc. Like, let me do one thing. Let me just tell you with an example. Like, suppose you remember I told you an example of fruits, right? In that, let's just create a list. Inside list, I'll write apples, bananas, and mangoes. This is what I wrote, right, about the list. Now, here I will implement a for loop for x in fruits print. What exactly it will print, according to you? According to you, what exactly it will print? So, see, what has happened. Firstly, we have declared a list that our list name is fruits, and inside fruits that it contains three elements, that is apples, bananas, and mangoes. Now we have applied a loop, that is for loop. It says that for x, that is the values which is there in the list, it says no, for the values, that is x, which is there in fruits, print x. So if there were suppose if there were thousands of values, it would have printed thousand values, but for now it just has three values, so it will just print three values, right? You can see it here now. But by chance, what it if I copied it from here and I just put a comma, space, space. Similarly, I put a comma and I have to just paste like that. Now it has, see, it has 9 elements. So it will print our full list 9 times. Like you can see, it has printed. Just make it a little bigger. Says 1, 2, 3 apples, bananas, mangoes, juice, bananas, mangoes. What it says here, right? So this is how for loops basically works, right? Like similarly, we can do one thing. Like just think, what I can do here is I instead of writing this, I can write like this. For x in bananas, print x. What has happened here is uh, right now this list is not in use actually. So what we have did here is we have declared a loop. It says that for x in bananas, that means all the alphabets which is there in bananas print x. So x is our variable which is defined as the alphabets, all the alphabets that are present in bananas. So this is what it has printed. It has printed all the alphabets, that is BANANAS, like that, right? Like that it has printed our elements. Run it again. It has printed BANANAS, like full statement it has printed. So this is what for loop is all about. Like in the same as we learned in while loops, same things is there in for loops as well. In for loops also we can use break statement. Like for example, let me just move this from here. Let's just use this. Yeah. Now what we will do here is we will create a loop. For example, fruits. In fruits, print x. And inside this, we'll create a conditional statement x equals bananas. What I have written here is basically I have wrote one thing. Like we have to print all the elements that are present in fruits, but when the value of x will be equals to bananas, then we have to break the loop. Now let's just run it and we'll see. See what has happened. It just printed two values, that is apples and bananas. And when it printed bananas, that means our if condition satisfied, it break the loop. So this is how you can use break statements in this, and similarly you can use continue statements as well. Like instead of break, I'll write here as continue, and then I'll write print one thing. Remove this one from here. We'll cut it and we'll paste it. Now what happened before printing? Firstly, it will check the conditions, right? Now, if the condition satisfies, then only it will print. See what has happened here. is when I started, it firstly printed, right? Firstly, when apples was there, the condition didn't satisfy it, right? So it moved on further and it printed. This whole command didn't execute it. But when bananas came, here the value satisfied, so it continued. That means it didn't printed that, it moved on further and it printed mangoes. This is what our condition statement is all about. Like, you, if you will run it again, you can see it's printing apples and it's printing mangoes, but it didn't printed bananas, because I have given it a command that whenever our value of x will be equals to bananas, it should continue. That means it should skip that, right? Here now there comes one more data types, that is called range. Now let's just do one thing. For I'll write a loop for the range, like for x in range. Okay. I'll give it a range, like suppose I want the range 6, or let's just do one thing, I'll write the range 8. For the range, for x in range 8, print x. What has happened, I have made a loop that for x in range 8, print x. Let's see what will happen. So what happened, it started from 0 and it printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and when it came for 8, it stopped. So this is what our range is all about, right? Now the loop, through the set of code specified, we can use range function as it says, right? In the range functions, you can say it returns a sequence of numbers that is starting from 0 and it's increment by 1 by default. And you can say that when it came for 8, it didn't printed it, it just stopped one digit before. So this is what our range is all about. If you will put a range, suppose like if I will put a range of 6 here instead of 8, it will print our numbers from 0 to 5 rather than 0 to 6. 0 to 5. But if you will count, the numbers are obviously 6. Full numbers are there. Now, here the else statements also comes place in this. Like you can do one thing, you can write here a function like that, you can say. So what it will happen, like firstly it will run the loop, okay? But when the loop will be finished, then it will come for our else statement that will print range is completed. Now let's just run it and say, firstly, it printed from 0 to 5, then now it says that our range is completed. It means that the range which we gave it was over. Now, here comes one more thing, and it's, when we will be doing competitive or when we will be writing a complex code, these things comes in a lot of parts that is called nested loops, right? Let me just make a heading for that. Nested loops. So this is our nested loops. Now let's just write the code for our nested loops. So what in nested loops, a loop is inside a loop. Like firstly, we will create a loop, and you can say firstly we'll create a big ball, and inside that big ball, it has a small ball, which will be working simultaneously. So this is what a nested loop is all about. Like for example, let me create two lists. Let's just do one thing. I'll write here color. I'll write here as color, and inside color, I'll make a list of elements here. Like firstly, I'll create yellow, okay, and similarly I'll create green, and similarly I'll create red. This is our first list, and similarly I'll create a second list, that is fruits. So it says mango and comma watermelon comma apple. Okay. So we have created two lists. Now let's just do one thing. Let's make a loop. First I'll loop for x in colors. Okay. This is our first loop that we have created, that for the elements which are present in x, we have to run a loop. Now inside that, we'll print another for y in fruit, that is s because it is fruits. Then we have to run a statement that will be print statement and will print x comma y, That means it will make loop run inside a loop. It has created a nested loop, like you can see here. Let's run it again. Here you can see that yellow mango, yellow watermelon, yellow apple. What has basically happened here is it has made a loop run. Like firstly, it will run for three variables. Like this three will run for, then this three will run. So basically, it has given us six outputs, right? Actually, it has given us nine outputs. So we have to, check some of the things that how exactly it's working. But yeah, you can see we have created nested loops, how nested loops works. Don't worry, it's just a concept to show you that we can make two loops run at simultaneously. We will deal with it and we'll create a proper loop. For that, let's just firstly learn about the past statements. Like for example, for loops cannot be empty, but if you for some reason have a for loop which does not have any content, then you can put a pass statement to avoid getting an error. Like for example, for x in, I'll create a list 0 comma 1. For this statement, suppose I have nothing. Okay, I didn't have not put anything in there. I don't want to print anything, but usually it never happens. But by chance, if you forgot to put something and it's showing the error, you can put pass. And when you will run it, you will say it is simply not giving you any kind of error. But if you will not write this pass statement and you will run it, you will definitely get an error. So this is what a pass statement is about, which can make you get rid of the error, right? Yeah. So this was basically all the things that you wanted to know about the loops and conditional statements as well. This was just the basics. Like, so if you still have any doubts or if you didn't understood the concept, like what are loops, how to run loops, then you can just watch this video once again. And still, if you have some issues, you can comment down below, and I will be really happy to help you with your queries and doubts. And don't worry, if you have understood the concept, then in the upcoming videos, we will be doing projects, we will be making some files, and we will be doing some codes that will be making it very helpful, and you will be understanding all the concepts, right? And before leaving, I'll just want to remind you once again that if you guys have still didn't checked out the series, if you guys still didn't checked out the website for Geeks for Geeks, let's just go and check it once again. So more about this website of Geeks for Geeks, in which you can get all the free courses as well as the premium courses. These courses are made by company professionals, so if you are interested, then you guys can really check it out. Like you can just go and explore here, and you can check all the amazing stuff that is there inside the course. Some of them are absolutely free. I would really say all of you to at least check it out because it is really helpful and it will make your skills really, really better. Right? So this was all about it for today's video. And I'll see you another one with some exciting topics. Till then, see you. Have a great day. Bye bye.